Okay, what we're going to do now before we get to this is we're going to make a little chant with our steps. We know our steps are divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract. You're done. Or compare. We'll call it compare. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. When you're ready, join in. We're creating a chant. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Remember, when you're ready to join in, join in. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. We're going to do it 3 more times. Actually, we're going to do it until the minute changes. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Keep going, louder. Divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Oh, I messed up, sorry. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Loud, loud, loud. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Yell it, scream it. Let's annoy everybody on this floor.
Yay!
Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. We're still going, it's not 8:59 yet. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. One more time, it's 8:59, but one more time. As loud as you possibly can. If they can hear us in middle school, then we are loud enough. Are you ready? Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, divide, multiply, subtract, compare. Now we know, those are in our heads. They should be. If not, yell it to your parents at home. Not in a mean way, but in a way. I know how to do this. Listen to this chant we learned today. Okay, we see we have our steps right here. We just added some extra words because we know we start with the greatest place value, which in today's lesson will always be the tens. Step 1, divide the tens. How many times will the divisor go into the digit in the tens place without going over? Multiply. Multiply that digit we just got by the divisor and line them up. Step 3, subtract. Subtract the answer to the multiplication problem from the digit in the tens place. Step 4, bring down the ones. Bring down the digit that's in the ones place. Then you have a new dividend. Remember, right after you bring down, you have a new dividend or you're done. Every time the answer to the subtraction along with the bring down digit is either your new dividend, or you're done. It's your remainder. That's it. Okay? Then you just do it again. How many times will your divisor go into your new dividend? Then multiply. Multiply the digit you had just gotten, not the number, by the divisor, and line it up with that place value. Then subtract. Subtract subtract the answer to that multiplication problem from your new dividend. Either bring down or compare. If there's nothing to bring down, you're done. Is the answer to that subtraction problem less than your divisor? You're good. You've got it. I mean, there's still a chance for silly mistakes, but most of the time you've got it. Okay, you ready? 72 divided by 7. Step 1 is to divide the tens. I have the steps on the first one. I guess I don't have it on the second one. Man, I wish I did. We'll just add it ourselves. So I know step 1 is going to go right in this box. I'm trying to see my divisor. How many times will it fit in to this digit in the tens place? 7 will fit into 7 how many times? Aaron? Once. So I put a 1 in that box above the tens place. Done dividing the tens there. If you use your pencil, make sure that you do it lightly so you can erase it. Because there's a chance I'll have, if I have enough page protectors, I don't know if I do, I'll have it for you guys at home. You may have to just make your own with like a page protector and just a piece of paper where you've written the steps. Okay, so we just divided the tens. We said the divisor 7 will fit into the digit in the tens place, 7, 1 time. Now we multiply. What are we multiplying? What is our multiplication equation? Zari.
1 times 7.
1 times 7, the digit we just got, times our divisor. Zari, 1 times 7 is what?
7.
7. So we line it up with this step 2. And now we've multiplied. Next we subtract. What is our subtraction equation? Colin?
7 minus 7.
7 minus 7, the digit in the tens place minus the answer to our multiplication problem. Cullen, 7 minus 7 is what?
0.
0. So we put the 0 in this little box next to step 3. Now we bring down. What digit are we bringing down? What digit are we bringing down? Michaela?
2.
The 2. So we're physically going to draw an arrow every single time, because that'll help us make sure that we've brought down everything, we don't have anything left. So we are physically drawing that arrow. And then we put what we brought down in this box next to step number 4, which is a 2. So Michaela, we know this is our new dividend. Once we bring down, that's our new dividend. So what's our new dividend? 2. We have 0, 2. We know a 0 in the beginning doesn't matter. So our new dividend is 2. Okay. Step 5, we have to divide again. So we're seeing how many times our divisor, 7, will go into our new dividend, 2. How many times will 7 go into 2 without going over? You may think this is a trick, but it's not. It really is as simple as you think. Victoria? How many times will 7 go into 2 without going over? Not 2 goes into 7. How many times will 7 go into 2 without going over? Mason?
2 times.
How many times will 7, if I have 7 apples, how many times can I put them in my 2 boxes without going over? That means I can't have more than 1 in a box, but I have to use all of them. How many times can that happen? Zadie?
0.
None. It can't happen at all, because if I try to, I can only have 1 in each box. Uh-oh, I have all these extras. So how many times can 7 go into 2, Zadie?
0.
None. So I put my 0 for how many times 7 can go into 2 in this box underneath step number 5. So I divided the 1s. Our divisor 7 can go into our new dividend 2 no times at all. It doesn't fit. Our divisor is too big. That is okay. That can happen. That can definitely happen, because is this a number? Yeah, it is. So it can happen. Okay, now we multiply. Are we multiplying 10 times 7? Are we multiplying 10 times 7? Kingston? No. We are only multiplying the digit we just got, which is what? 0 times our divisor, 7, right? So what is the equation for this multiplication problem? Kingston? I can't hear you. 2 times 0, where'd the 2 come from? We always multiply the digit we just got anytime we're multiplying. We're multiplying the digit we just got by dividing by the divisor. We always multiply by the divisor. So what is our multiplication problem for step 6? Victoria?
0 times 7.
0, the digit we just got from dividing, times 7, our divisor. Victoria, 0 times 7 is what? 0. So that goes in our box next to step 6. So Kingston, do you understand why it's 0 times 7? We always multiply the digit we just got by dividing by the divisor. 0 is the digit we got by dividing here in step 5. 7 is our divisor. Do you understand now? So 0 times 7 is 0. So we just multiplied. We put it in the box next to number 6. Okay, step number 7 is to subtract. What is our small equation that we are subtracting? What is our small subtraction equation? Mason?
2 times 0.
What is
2 minus 0?
2 minus 0? Which is what?
2.
2. So we put the answer to our subtraction problem, 2 minus 0, in that box next to step 7. Now, let's check. Do we have anything left to bring down? Do we have any digits in our dividend that don't have a number or an arrow underneath them? No. So do we have anything else to divide, multiply, subtract, or bring down? No, which means we're ready to compare, and then we're done. So we need to figure out, is the answer to our subtraction problem less than our divisor? The answer to our subtraction problem was 2. The divisor is 7. Is the answer to our subtraction problem less than our divisor? Yes or no? Michaela? Yes. So are we probably good? Yes. Do we ignore this 2? What does this 2 become? What is this 2? Our remainder. It's our leftovers. The math word for division leftovers is our remainder, so we put it in the remainder box. Okay, let's do another one, but this time I'm going to pick sticks for each step. Before we begin, I wish I had done this, and I have it on my copy. I don't know why it's not on your copy. Let's put the steps above each spot. So we know this first box is step 1. This box right here, we can match it. It's step 5. This box right here, we can match it. It's step 8. Make sure your numbers are small like mine. Do you notice how mine are very small? So that they don't confuse us. Yours should also be very small so that you don't confuse them. We know this box, we can match it. It's step 2. We know on this side, this first box is step 3. And this second box is step 4. So do you see the first box here is step 3, the second box is step 4. We know right here lines up with step 6. There's 2 boxes there. I wonder what that means. Maybe we'll find out later. And then we know the last box, which I'm going to put over here just because there's more room, is step 7. And then I'm going to erase all my check marks because I'm going to go through the steps again. Okay, are you ready? Has everybody written their steps? Okay, we're going to start with step 1, division. So remember you're thinking, okay, what will fit into what? How many times? Carla, step 1 is to divide. So we're trying to see how many times what number will fit into what number without going over. We're trying to figure out how many times what will fit into what without going over.
We're trying to know how much 2 will go into 35.
Not 35, that's not step 1. That's like a bunch of steps in one, Carla. Nope, Carla's gonna do it. Did we figure out, was the very first thing we did in this one to figure out how many times 7 will go into 72? The very first step.
No.
The very first step is to figure out how many times 2 will go into what? We're only going one place, one digit at a time. This is 2 places and 2 digits at a time. 35 is 2 places and 2 digits at a time, but we're only trying to do 1 at a time. So 2 goes into what? How many times?
3.
How many times does 2 go into 3? The digit in the tens place without going over. So Carla, how many times does 2 go into 3 without going over?
2 will go into 3.
How many times?
6 times.
Not 6 times. That's how many times 2 repeated 3 times is. If I had 2 and I repeated it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, then I have 6. But that's not how many times my 2 apples will fit into 3 boxes without going over. Remember, I'm allowed to have empty boxes. So if I put these apples in my boxes one at a time, how many times can I go in without going over, Carla? Who can help her out? I'm allowed to have empty boxes, but I'm not allowed to have extras left over, and I can't put more than 1 in a box. Michaela? That's 1 apple in 1 box. How many times can 2 go into 3? Let's think about it. Pause. Say that I did say 2 went into 3 2 times. Don't write this. Well, then I know my next step is to multiply the digit I just got by my divisor. 2 times 2 is 4. I know my next step, please don't write this, please don't write this. I literally just said do not write this, and now here you are writing it because you're not listening. You're zoning out, and then you're tuning in as I'm writing this, so you missed when I said don't write this, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have to catch up. So do you see how zoning out and then just copying and catching up is not learning? So I said, okay, 2 goes into 3 2 times without going over. I know my next step is to multiply. 2 times 2 equals 4. I know my next step is to subtract. 3 minus 4. Can I do that, class? Can I have 3 and give 4 away?
No.
No. So that means I need to go back to the division step. Well, let's say that I said 2 goes into 3 6 times. I know next, do not write this, focus. I know next I have to multiply. 6 times 2 is 12. And then I know I have to subtract. Can I do 3 minus 12? If I have 3, can I give away 12? No, I don't have enough. So again, I know, okay, I need to go back to my division step. So I know it can't be 2 times, and I know it can't be 6 times. How many times does 2 fit into 3 without going over? How many times was I able to put those 2 in without going over? Carla?
You can't.
I'm allowed to have empty boxes. I just can't have extras left over, and I can't have more than 1 in each box. This is allowed. How many times was I able to take that 2 and put it in the boxes. Ethan, I can't see your face, which means you can't see me, which means you're not paying attention. So you need to sit in your seat right now. Later on, you can move. Michaela, once. I can only go around once. I can only go around once, because if I try to go again, 1, 2. I'm not allowed to have more than one in a box. So that means I can't do that. So 2 goes into 3 one time without going over. I also know that because I know 2 times 1 equals something close to 3 that's not bigger than 3. So 2 can go into 3 one time. So I just divided. I figured out how many times my divisor would fit into the digit in the tens place without going over. Ethan, next I have to multiply. What am I multiplying? I'm multiplying the, loudly, you've got it. I can't hear you. Not the tens, not the ones. I'm not looking at places. I'm looking at numbers. I'm looking at digits right now. I'm not worried about places. Think about it. I'm multiplying the digit I just got by the divisor. Well, what's the digit I just got? Ethan, what's the digit I just wrote? You need to sit up in your chair because you weren't watching while I did this. So now you don't know what digit I just got. Sit in your chair, please. Quickly. The digit I just got. What is the digit I just wrote when I divided? Look, I've only written 1. I've only written 1 digit. What is that 1 digit? Come on, Ethan. You had it. You're doing that thing where you're telling yourself, I have no idea. And all you're thinking, your brain is just filled up with, I don't know how to do it. I'm confused. What is she talking about? Which means, can you fit the knowledge in if your brain is just filled up with, I don't know how to do this, over and over and over again? Imagine your brain filled with like the bubble letters, I can't do this. Does this fit if your brain is filled up with those big bubble letters, I can't do it? No, so you have to take those words out because you don't need them. They don't help. And fit this in there. I just said my division. I said 2 will fit into this digit in the tens place 3 one time. Now I'm ready to multiply. I know the answer to my division times my divisor is what I multiply. So the answer to my division, how many times will 2 fit into 3 is what? 1. And then I multiply my divisor, which is what? 2. So 1 times 2 equals what? 2. I know that goes, it lines up with everything I've just been looking at. I haven't, class, have I even said anything about this 5 yet? Do I care about it right now? I don't care about it until I get to step 4. I don't care about that digit at all until I get to step 4. I am only worried about this digit right here, this place. So I'm lining the answer to that multiplication up with the place and the digit I'm worried about right now, which is not this one's place. I don't care about it. I don't care about it at all until I get here. So the digit we just got, 1, times our divisor is 2. Next we subtract. Zari, what are we subtracting?
We're subtracting 3 minus 2.
3 minus 2. What is 3 minus 2, Zari?
1.
1. So again, I'm just going to line it up with the only digits that matter to me right now, which are all in what place, Zari?
In the tens.
In the tens place. Hint, hint. I'm only worried about the tens place in these first 4 steps. 4 kind of switches halfway through. So good. The answer to 3 minus 2 is 1. So I'm done subtracting. Next, I bring down the ones. What does that mean? Mason. I just subtracted. 3 minus 2 is 1. I know I'm not done because are all of the digits in my dividend, do they all have a number or an arrow underneath them? No. So I need to bring down the ones. What does that mean?
You have to bring down 5.
I need to take that 5 and I need to draw an arrow to show that I brought it down. What's my new dividend? 15. 15 is my new dividend. I'm not worried about 35 anymore. Now I'm worried about 15. Okay? So I brought down the ones. I have a new dividend. Now I need to divide again. I need to see how many times my divisor, 2, will fit into what without going over Zadie? How many times will 2 fit into what? Am I worried about this number anymore? No. What's my new dividend?
15.
15. So how many times will 2 fit into 15 without going over?
7 times.
7 times. You've got the hang of it. Because we know 2 times something will get us close to 15 without going over. 2 times 7 is going to get us close to 15 without going over. So we just divided the ones. We said 2 will go into our new dividend 15 7 times. Next, we have to multiply. Kingston, are we multiplying our entire quotient by our divisor? No, we are only multiplying the digit we just got by our divisor. What is the digit we just got?
7.
You're not getting any louder.
7.
7 times our divisor. 7 times 2 is what? 14. That's why we had those 2 boxes, because sometimes the answer to the multiplication problem is 2 digits. So that means we needed 2 boxes for the 2 digits, like in the second homework problem that we did together. We're probably going to take a 3rd day on this. That's okay. I'd rather you understand it, and I'd rather it click for everybody than try to move on, because if we move on and it hasn't clicked yet, it's not going to be good. So, we're going to have to do a 3rd day of this, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay. So we just multiplied. Now do you see why Zadie knew that 2 went into 15 7 times without going over? Because she knew her basic facts, and she knew that 2 times 7 was 14, which is close to 15 but not bigger. If we'd said 8, we would have gotten 16 here. And can we subtract 16 from 15? Can we take 16 away if we only have 15 to begin with? No. So we know it has to be, 7. Can't be 8, because then our number here would be too big. We couldn't subtract it. There's nothing we can multiply 2 by to get 15. But as long as we're close, that's okay. As long as we're close, but not bigger, that's okay. Okay, so we just multiplied. Now we need to subtract, which means what? Smith.
We need to do 15 minus 14.
We need to do 15 minus 14. And Smith, 15 minus 14 is what?
1.
1. Very good. So we just subtracted. Now we need to check for something to bring down. I don't help with math. I only help reading. Victoria, look at our dividend, our original dividend, not our new dividend. Do we have anything left to bring down? No. Make sure you're loud because they can't see you at home and the video can't see you doing that. No. There's nothing left to bring down. So now we need to do what?
Now we need to compare.
We need to compare. Is the answer to our subtraction problem less than our divisor? So we're good, right? Which means this answer to our subtraction problem is the leftovers. The division way of saying leftovers is the remainder. So we put in the remainder box. Which means, class, 35 divided by 2 is?
17 remainder 1.
17 remainder 1. Okay. After our spelling test, we might do 2 more. And then tonight, you're going to have 4 problems to solve this way. But you can do it. As long as you try, you will be okay. You will get a good grade. Even if you get the wrong answer, but you tried, you will get a good grade. I will pass back your homework from last night so that you have, remember when I wrote all of those reasons in words? You'll have that. You'll also have this, which hopefully we'll have time to do 2 more. And then on Monday, we'll do these 2, maybe example 2 in the guided practice from the book, maybe. And then you'll do the, not on Monday, Tuesday, then you'll do the independent practice. I think some of you are good. I think it's clicked. It is okay if that is not you. Some of you may feel like it's almost there, but it's just not quite there. That's okay too. We're all different. Are we computers? Are human beings computers? No. All computers work the same way at the same speed, right? I mean, if they're new. All new computers out of the box work pretty much the same way at the same speed, right? So if we're not computers, should we expect that of ourselves? No, because we're human beings. We all have different brains. We're all made differently. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. So we're not supposed to work at the same speed. So don't worry if it hasn't clicked yet. Maybe it'll click this afternoon when we do these 2. Maybe you need to work on it yourself, and then it'll click. Sometimes it doesn't click until you do it yourself. That's why you get homework. Also, it helps you remember, because we have 3 days. So try to do, if you have 4 problems, I do like 1 each day, and then just pick 1 day to do 2, so that it stays. Okay? Okay. So let's look at 17 divided by 2, and we're going to go step by step. Step 1 is to divide the tens, which means we're doing what, Aaron? We're seeing how many times what digit will go into what other digit?
We're seeing how many times 2 can go into 1.
Good. We're trying to see how many times 2 can go into 1 without going over, which means we have 2 apples. We want to put it in 1 box, but we can't put more than 1 in the box. How many times can we do that?
0 times.
We can't. We can't. So, how many times does 2 go into 1? 0. Is that possible? Can we have a 0 in our quotient? Yeah, we can. So that means we just have a 0 where step 1 goes. Thank you, Aaron. Step 2 is to multiply. Well, what are we multiplying? Zadie.
0 times 2.
0, the digit we just got, times our divisor, which is 2. Zadie, 0 times 2 is what?
0.
0. And remember, we're going to line it all up. It's all lining up with that digit in the tens place. Yes, quickly.
This goes for everybody. Don't forget to erase your check marks.
Oh, yeah, don't forget to erase your check marks next to your steps so you don't accidentally do it again. Or, I'm sorry, so whatever. You know what I mean. Okay. Very good. So 0, the digit we just got, times 2 is 0. So we divided and we multiplied. Zari, next we have to subtract. What are we subtracting?
1 minus 4.
1 minus 4? Where'd the 4 come from? We can't do that anyway. Were you paying attention, Zari, when we were doing it, or did you just move ahead?
I was paying attention.
Well, I don't know where that 4 came from because we don't have any 4s. Remember, Zari, 2 can't go into 1 at all. If we have 2, we can't fit it into 1. We can't do it. There's too many. So that means 2 goes into 1 0 times. Then we multiply the digit we had just gotten after we divided 0 times our divisor, which is 2. The answer is 0. So we line them all up in the tens place, and now we're subtracting what we have. We have 1, our digit in the tens place, minus 0, the answer to the multiplication problem, which is what, Zari?
1 minus 0.
1 minus 0 is our subtraction problem. And Zari, 1 minus 0 is what?
1.
1. So again, we're just going to line that all up because we're only working with the tens place. So we just subtracted. We said 1 minus 0 is 1. Now we have to bring down. What is, oh, I forgot I'm picking a stick. What does that mean to bring down? Ethan? We have to bring down a digit. Well, we already used this 1, right? Because we know, because we have a number underneath it. What about this 7? Have we used it yet? No, so we have to bring it down, right? Let's draw an arrow so that we know we've brought it down. So I bring it down next to the answer to the subtraction problem. Well, my dividend is now what? What's my new dividend? 17. Oh my goodness, it's the same as my original dividend. Huh. I guess that happens sometimes, doesn't it? When your divisor can't fit into your first place value, into your first digit, that means when you get your new dividend, it's the same, right? So now we have 17. We just brought down. We have a new dividend, which just happens to be the same as our old dividend. Next, we have to divide again. Carla, we're dividing again. So we're trying to see how many times our divisor will go into our new number. What's our divisor, Carla?
Our divisor is 17.
Our divisor. Remember, divisor is what you're dividing by. It doesn't change. The whole time we do our problem, our divisor never changes. We may end up with a new dividend. Usually we'll end up with a new dividend, but not always. But our divisor never changes. So Carla, what's our divisor?
2.
2. And we want to figure out how many times it fits into our new dividend. What's our new dividend, Carla?
17.
17. How many times does 2 go into 17 without going over? So you need to think of your 2 basic facts.
You can't.
It does. If I have 17 boxes, 3, 4,
Wait,
5,
one time.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and I have 2 items. I can definitely fit it in at least once, but I can fit it even more. So how many total times can I fit 2 into 17 without going over, Carla? So 2 times something will get me something close to 17. It just can't be bigger. Think of your 2 basic facts. What is a multiple of 2 that is close to 17 but not bigger than 17?
18.
Not 18, that's bigger. 18 is bigger. It is close, but it's bigger. So it can't be bigger. Okay, I'm going to get
16.
16. Okay, so we know 16 is close, but not bigger than 17. So we know it can fit. Okay, 2 times what is 16, Carla?
8.
8. So that means 2 can fit into 17 how many times without going over?
8.
8. So remember, we're working in the ones place. So we're going to line that 8 up with the ones place because 2 can go into 17 8 times without going over. Carla, make sure to mute yourself. Okay, so we just divided the ones. Now we have to multiply again. Michaela, are we multiplying our entire top number by our divisor? No, we're only multiplying which digit? The 8, which is the one we just got. We're only working with one digit at a time, right? So that means we need to multiply our divisor by what number? By 17. I don't have a 17 up here, and that has 2 digits. I'm only working it with one at a time. I only multiply my divisor by the digit I just got, no matter what place I'm in. What's the digit I just got? 8. What's our divisor? So that means I'm multiplying what 2 numbers? 8 times 2, the digit I just got, times my divisor. 8 times 2 is what? 16. So I need to come down here. I need to line it up. I need to line my places up. 1's place goes with 1's place. 10's place goes with 10's place. And so I just multiplied. I said the digit I just got, 8 times 2 is 16. Aaron, next I need to subtract. What am I subtracting? 17 minus 16. That's my new dividend minus the answer to my multiplication problem. So Aaron, 17 minus 16 is what? 1. Colin, at this point, what do I always need to check to see? If I can do what?
If you can bring down.
If I can bring anything down. To do that, I need to look at my dividend, my original dividend that I started with, and see, okay, are there any digits that don't have another number or an arrow underneath them? Colin, do I have any digits that don't have a number or an arrow underneath them?
No.
So do I have anything left to bring down?
No.
Oops, I forgot, I just subtracted. So that means I'm ready to compare. So I need to see the answer to my subtraction problem. Is it less than my divisor? If it's equal to or greater than, that means I need to go back to the division step. If my answer to my subtraction problem is equal to or greater than my divisor, that means I did something wrong in the division part. Is the answer to my subtraction problem less than my divisor?
Yes.
So are we good?
Yes.
Probably. Should we still always go back and check when we're done?
Yes.
Yes. So what does this mean?
The 1 is the remainder.
The 1 is the remainder. Now when I put final answers down, do I leave a 0 at the beginning of a number?
No.
No. So even though I needed that as a placeholder earlier, what should I do right now?
Erase it.
I'm going to erase that 0. Only the 0, so I'm going to be very careful that I don't accidentally erase the 8. So class, 17 divided by 2 is what?
8 remainder 1.
8 remainder 1. Okay, erase your check mark because we're going to do one more. And then we're going to save the last 2 for Monday or Tuesday. But we're going to do one more. Mason, step 1, we have to divide. Which means we're seeing how many times what will fit into what?
8 will fit into 6.
We're trying to figure out how many times will 8 go into 6. Mason, how many times does 8 go into 6 without going over?
0.
None. 8 is bigger than 6. Is that okay? Can a number go into a number 0 times? Yeah, that's okay. Because sometimes we have zeros in our quotients. Okay, that's it. So we just divided the tens. 8 doesn't fit into 6, so it fits in 0 times. Smith, what do we do next?
Multiply.
What do we multiply?
8 times 0.
We multiply the digit we just got, 0 times the divisor. So Smith, 0 times 8 is what?
0.
0. And remember, we're going to line it up. Make sure that you are neat and you are lining up because you're not always going to have these boxes. You're not even always going to have the numbers written for you, so you have to be neat. Otherwise, you could end up bringing down the wrong thing. You could end up subtracting the wrong numbers. Something crazy could go on only because you're not being neat. Okay, thank you, Smith. So we just finished multiplying. Step 3, subtract. Victoria, what are we subtracting?
We are subtracting 6 minus 0.
The digit in the tens place minus the answer to our our multiplication problem. And Victoria, 6 minus 0 is 6. Now we're done subtracting. What do we do next, Kingston? What do we do next? We bring down the ones. We have our tens, we have our 6 with the digit underneath it. We have our 4 with nothing underneath it. So we know we bring it down. So what's my new dividend, Kingston? 64. Oh, it's the same as before. Does that always happen though? No, we can see well, you don't have it, but look at your problems. You can see in step 3 and 4, in the 2 problems you did earlier, our new dividend is different. But sometimes it's not. It just depends. Good. So our new dividend, which is also our old dividend, is 64. Ooh, Zari. We just brought down, we created our new dividend. What do we have to do next?
Find our, find the number that we're going to subtract by.
But we haven't divided or multiplied. What do we have to do? We just brought down the ones and we have our new dividend. What do we have to do next?
Divide ones.
We have to divide again. So we're trying to see how many times what will go into what?
8 will go into 4.
4? But that's not my new dividend. I'm trying to see how many times 8 will go into what, Zari? Not 4. I don't see a 4 anywhere. I see the digit 4, but I don't see the number 4 anywhere. Look at all the rest.
8 would go into 0.
Not 0. Again, I don't see, I see a 0 here, but I never say how many times 8 will go into the answer to my multiplication problem or the answer to a division problem. I'm trying to see, at first, I'm trying to see how many times our divisor will go into the first digit of our division problem. Then, I have to see how many times our divisor will go into our new dividend. What's our new dividend, Zari?
64.
64. So I have to see how many times my divisor, 8, will fit into our new dividend, which is what?
6.
You just answered the same exact question, Zari. I said, what is our new dividend? And you said what?
64.
And then I said, so that means we're trying to figure out how many times our divisor, 8, will go into our new dividend, which is what?
64.
64. So how many times will 8 go into 64 without going over? Think of your basic facts. What times what will get you something close to 64 that is not greater than? It can be less than or equal to, but it cannot be greater than. Zari? How many times will 8 fit into 64 without going over?
Once.
Not once. Look what happens. Everybody watch. What happens when we do that? Do not write this. Okay, so say I got here and I said 8 will go into 64 one time. That means then I multiply 1 times 8, which equals 8. I'm going to make sure I line it up with my places. And then I subtract. Well, 64 minus 8. 4 becomes 14. 6 becomes 5. 14 minus 8 is 6. 5 minus nothing is 5. Can I have a remainder of 56? My remainder cannot be equal to or greater than my divisor. 56 is much greater than my divisor. So that means I didn't go around in my groups enough times. Here, I know I can take groups of 2. I could do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could put 8 groups of 2 into 17. How many groups of 8 can I put into 64, Zari? Think of your basic facts. There's a multiple of 8 that is equal to or less than 64. So that means the number that goes up here is whatever that factor is that goes with 8 to get the multiple that is equal to or less than 64. So how many groups of 8 can we make in 64? You're thinking of your basic facts. There is a basic fact with 8 and something close to 64. What is it? 8 times what will get you something close to but not greater than 64? Kingston, how many times will 8 fit into 64? 8 times. Zari, you need to think of your basic facts. 8 times something will get us close to 64. So we need to figure out what multiple of 8 is close to 64. It can be equal to, it can be a little bit less than, but it can't be greater. We know 8 times 8 will get us something close to 64 that is not greater, because we know our basic facts. So we know that 8 has to fit into 64 8 times. So when you get to your new dividend, sometimes it's bigger, but it's still always going to be a basic fact. Does everybody understand? When you make your new dividend, it's still going to be a basic fact. You're still going to be able to solve it using basic facts. It's like multiplication. When we just looked at each place by itself, we were only using basic facts, right? We never did something more than a basic fact when we were just looking at one place at a time. It's the same thing with division. We just have to think backwards, okay? 64 divided by 8 gets us 8 or something close. So that means 8 fits into 64 8 times. So we just divided the ones. So Zari, you just have to remember, when you get to your new dividend, you're figuring out, okay, our divisor times something will get us a number that is close to or equal, but not greater than our new dividend. You have to figure out what that number is. It may not be exactly the new dividend, but it will be close and not greater. It will never get you a multiple that is greater, even if it's a little closer. Doesn't matter. It has to be less. Carla, we just divided. What do we do next?
We multiply.
We multiply. Are we taking our entire top number above the bracket and multiplying it by the divisor?
No, we are just taking the new digit.
Yeah, you're right. You're good. That's a good one. That's a fun. You can say it that way. We have our new digit that we didn't have before, so the digit we just got, and we're multiplying it by what?
And we're multiplying it by the 8.
By the divisor. So what digit? What's our new digit that we just got?
8.
8, and then we're multiplying it by our divisor, which is what?
8.
8. So Carla, 8 times 8 equals what?
24.
Not 24. That's 8 times 3. 8 times 8 equals what?
64.
64. So we put the answer to our multiplication problem right underneath our new dividend. We line the places up. We finished multiplying. Our new digit, 8, times our divisor, 8, equals 64. So next we do what, Michaela? We subtract. What are we subtracting, Michaela? 64 minus 64, which equals what? 0. So we just subtracted. Okay. Mason, we just finished subtracting a second time. What should we always make sure to do after we subtract a second time? What should we always check for? Well, what about if I'm here? Would I check for remainders here? What do I need to check for? Something to do what with? Look at what step comes after subtract both times. But what if I had a digit up here that had no number or arrow underneath it? What would I have to do with it? Like if I had a 3-digit number. Who can help them out? Don't stress. That's when those thoughts, the bad thoughts, push out the good ones and what you've learned. What do I always need to check for after I subtract? Something to do what with? Aaron?
You have to make sure it's not greater than
Not yet. First we have to check for something else before we can compare. Before we can compare, we have to check for what? Cullen?
to see if you have any numbers that you have to bring down.
I need to check for something to bring down. How do I check for that, Cullen? How do I check for something to bring down? What do I look for?
If there's a number under it or a arrow.
I need to look at my dividend. I need to look at each digit. Is there a digit without a number or an arrow underneath it? Mason, do I have any digits in my dividend without a number or an arrow underneath it? No. So do I have anything to bring down? No, which means I'm ready to do step 8, which is to compare. Is the answer to my subtraction problem less can't be equal, can't be greater? Is it less than my divisor? So am I probably done? This becomes my what? Whatever's left over becomes my what? Remainder. Do I have a remainder in this problem? No. So should I put something in this box? Class, should I leave this 0 here?
No.
No. Do I ever write a number with a 0 at the very beginning?
No.
So what should I do right now? I kept it as a placeholder, but what do I need to make sure and go back and do?
Erase.
Erase it.
Erase.
I don't have a remainder, so I'm going to leave that box empty. 64 divided by 8 is what, class?
8.
8.
Guys, you know how to do this. Some of you are stressing, and it's pushing all of the things that you know out of your head so that those stress thoughts can stay. Take some breaths. Don't let those stress thoughts push out what you know, because they will. You may be like, oh, I get this 100%. But then as soon as you start letting those stress thoughts get in there, they push it all out. You can get it back, but not if you let them stay. They can't both fit. Okay, we'll keep doing that on Tuesday. We'll finish the last 2. And then we will do the bookwork, and then you'll be on your own. I think some of you are already there. Some of you are almost there. Some of you have been there. It's okay, because we're people. Okay, so go ahead, put that in return to school. So before we get into our lesson, I'm going to show you exactly how I haven't looked at everybody at schools. I'm going to show you exactly how to do those problems from last night. But first, what are the steps to division? You can sit up. That's not going to help. You got to watch. Sit. Scoot your chair. Sit up. What are the steps? What's step 1 when we divide? Think of what we wrote yesterday. Mason. Step 1. Divide. Step 2. Cullen.
Multiply.
Multiply. Step 3. Carla.
Subtract.
Subtract. Step 4. Come on, guys. Everybody should know this. Don't just stare down. You had to do it for homework. We talked about it yesterday. Everybody should know this. Victoria.
Bring down.
Bring down. What's step 5? Zari?
Divide.
Divide. Step 6? Zadie?
Multiply.
Multiply. Step 7? Aaron?
Subtract.
Subtract. Step 8, when we have 2-digit dividends. Smith?
You're done.
You're done. We'll also call it compare because remember, we compare to make sure what we have left after we subtract is smaller than our what? We have to make sure the answer to our subtraction problem in any piece is smaller than what? Zadie?
Divide.
The divisor. So we'll say compare. So let's follow these steps to do those problems from last night. I'm going to label each piece. I'm going to do this on your homework that you did last night too, so you don't have to write it right now. So our first problem was 64 divided by 3. Yes. So we know step 1 is to divide. With division, where do we start? Where do we start with division? Michaela? The greatest place value. The place closest to the divisor. That's where we start. So we have to divide. We have to say, okay, how many times will 3 go into 6 without going over? How many times will 3 go into 6 without going over? Smith?
2 times.
2 times. So we put that 2 right above the 6 because 3 is going to go into 2 6 times. So what this means is 3 goes into 6 2 times. So we finished that step. Next step is to multiply. We only multiply the digit we just got, which is a 2, by our divisor. 2 times 3 is what, class?
6.
6.
6.
We're going to line it up with the tens place, because we're still in the tens right now, right? So we multiply. We know the digit we just got, 2, times our divisor, which is 3, equals 6. That's where we got that number, right? Next, we subtract. 6 minus 6 is what, class?
0.
0. So how did we get the 0? Well, we said 6 minus 6 equals 0. Now we bring down. Everybody listen. We only bring down 1 digit at a time. We will never bring down more than 1 digit. So imagine we had extra digits up here. We would only bring down whatever comes next. What comes next? What comes after the tens place in our dividend? Colin?
The 1. The 4.
A 4. So we are literally going to draw an arrow every single time to show that we brought our 4 down. Now at this step, we are done with 64. We are only thinking about 4. So this is our new dividend. So we've brought down and we've created our new dividend. We're not worried about 64 anymore because we already dealt with this digit in the tens place, right? We dealt with it here. So we're done with it. All we're worried about is what's left. This is the ones. Remember, if we had something here, it would be regrouping. It would be taking a 10 and turning it into a 1. Or ones to 10 ones. But we don't have any 10s left. So now our new dividend is 4. We have to start over again with the ones place. How many times will 3 fit into 4 without going over? Kingston? Once. So we line that up with the ones place. So we just divided because we figured out this digit, only this digit, 3 goes into 4 one time. Next, we multiply. We do not multiply the entire quotient, only the digit we just got. What is the digit, not the number, what is the digit that we just got? Carla?
1.
1. So we're going to multiply only the digit we just got, which is 1, by our divisor. So 1 times 3 is what, class? 3.
3.
We're going to line it up with our ones place. We got this number because we know the digit we just got, 1, times our divisor, 3, equals 3. That's where that number came from. So now we're done multiplying. Next, we subtract. 4 minus 3 is what, class?
1.
1.
1.
How do we know we got this number? Well, because 4 minus 3 equals 1. So we're done subtracting. Now at this point, you always go back and check for something to bring down. That's why we do our arrows, because we know if there's an arrow under a digit, we've already brought it down, right? So let's go, let's see, are there any digits without numbers or arrows underneath them? Class, are there any digits in this dividend without a number or an arrow underneath it? No. So do we have anything left to bring down? Excuse me. No. So now we know we're done. But first, we need to check something. There's nothing left to bring down. So this is what's left over. What's the division word for the leftovers? What's a division word for the leftovers? Zari.
Remainder.
The remainder. So that means our remainder has to be 1. But remember, we compare. Is this remainder less than our divisor? So are we good? Yes, so 64 divided by 3 is what, class?
21.
21, remainder 1.
Okay, thank you, Zari, Cullen, and Zadie. Class, 64 divided by 3 is what?
21, remainder 1.
21, remainder 1. Okay. We're going to do the same thing with our other problem, and then we're going to do a bunch of practice with this that you're going to do with me. A bunch. And then we're going to be ready. It's just practice. Ethan, please sit up. You're not getting anything if you're not watching, which is going to make this really hard and impossible to do. If you're not listening to how to do it, it's going to stay hard. If you're not practicing with us, it's going to stay hard. If you are listening, if you are following, if you are practicing with us, it will get easier and easier. Now, some people are already like, oh, I got it. Some people need a few more. Some people will get it on the next one we do. Some people will get it on the 5th one we do. Some people may need to come to me and do it 1 or 2 more times, and then they will get it. You will not all get it at the same time, and that is okay. But keep practicing, keep following, keep working with us, and it will come. It will click. Okay? So let's practice again with our other problem. I'm going to erase my check marks. This is like my checklist. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a checklist for you guys and either laminate it or put it in a page protector, and then you can use your dry erase marker on it and then just erase every time you do a new problem. Okay. Next problem we had was 48 divided by 3. Step 1 is to divide. So we're seeing what? What are we trying to find when we're doing step 1? Carla?
3 times 4.
Not 3 times 4. Zari?
3 divided by.
Not 3 divided by 4. That means we're taking 3 and putting it into 4 groups. Can we do that? Can we take 3 and put it in 4 groups? No.
No.
We are trying to say how many times will what go into what? Our first step, dividing the very first time. We want to see how many times will what go into what? Cullen?
How many times 4 can go into, no, 3 go into 4?
How many times will our divisor, 3, go into the greatest place value in our dividend? How many times will 3 go into 4? Cullen?
Once.
Once. If we put it in twice, we would have 6. Can we do 4 minus 6? No. So that's our clue. Hey, doesn't go in that many times. So we just divide it. 1 tells us 3 goes into 4 1 time. So we're done with step 1. Next step is to multiply. What am I multiplying? What am I multiplying? Aaron?
1 times 3.
The digit I just got, which is? What's the digit I just got? 1. By the divisor, which is? 3. So Aaron, 1 times 3 is what? 3. And then I line it up with my tens place because that's where I'm working right now. How did I get this 3, Aaron? How did I get this 3? Multiplied what? How'd you get the 3? Putting your thinking into words is extremely important. Otherwise, you may not be able to do it a second time. How did you get the 3? What did you do? Did it just pop out of nowhere? Where did it come from? Victoria?
You multiplied 1 times 3.
Because 1, the digit we just got, times 3, our divisor, equals 3. So I'm done multiplying. Next, I have to subtract. What does that mean? Zadie?
You subtract 4 minus 3.
I do 4, the digit in my tens place, minus 3, what I just got from my multiplication answer, to get what, Zadie?
To get 1.
To get 1. Where did this number come from?
From when we did 4 minus 3.
Because 4, my digit in the tens place, minus 3, the answer to my multiplication problem, equals 1. Okay, so I just subtracted. Next, I bring down. What does that mean? Victoria?
You bring down the 8.
I bring down the next digit, the next place, or the digit in the next place, which is an 8. So now, what's my new number? What's my new dividend? 18. So I brought down. And now 18 is my new dividend. I don't need this 48 anymore because I already dealt with that 4, right? I'm done with it. I already dealt with it here when I figured out how many times 3 will go into 4. I don't need that 4 anymore. My new dividend is 18. So when I get to the divide part, I'm not seeing how many times 3 will go into 48 now because I don't know. That's not a basic fact. Is there a basic fact with 3 and 48 in it, class? No. Is there a basic fact with 3 and 18 in it? Yes. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get basic facts. Oops, I don't know why I did that. So next I have to divide. I'm not saying 3 into 48. I'm seeing how many times 3 will go into what? Smith?
18.
Our new dividend, 18. And Smith, how many times will 3 go into 18 without going over?
6 times.
6 times, because there's a basic fact. 3 times 6 equals 18. 3 times 6 equals something close to 18, so I know 3 has to go into 18 6 times. Okay, so we just divided because we know this digit, this 6, we know it because 3, our divisor, goes into 18, our new dividend, 6 times. That's where that digit came from. So now we're done dividing. Next we have to multiply. Do we multiply 16 times 3? I'm looking for hands. Do we multiply 16 times 3? Ethan?
No.
No. What do we multiply times 3? We know it has to be one of these. 6. Just the digit we just got. We only multiply the digit we just got, which is a 6, times our divisor. So Ethan, 6 times 3 is what? 18. We line it up with the number we just divided. Ethan, how did we get this 18 right here that I just wrote? By saying 6, the digit we just got, times 3, our divisor, equals 18. So we just multiplied. Next, we subtract. What do we subtract? What do we subtract? Zadie?
18 minus 8.
18 minus 18, which equals?
0.
0. How did we get this 0, Zadie?
By doing 18 minus 18.
By doing 18 minus 18, which equals 0. Next, let's check. Before we move on to step 8, let's check. Do we have anything else to bring down? Do we have any digits in our dividend without a number or an arrow underneath? No, we don't. So that means what, class?
We're done.
We're done, except let's compare really quick. Is the answer to our subtraction problem less than our divisor? So are we good? Yes. There's nothing left to bring down. Are there any leftovers? No. There's no leftovers. What's the math word for leftovers in division? What's the math word for leftovers in division? Colin?
Remainder.
Remainder. Do we have to do this? Nope. We just leave it alone. So class, 48 divided by 3 is?
16.
16. Okay. Girls at home, go ahead and get out your guided practice. Everybody at school, I will pass it out.